Hi, everybody, and welcome to Courage to Change with Karen. I'm Karen, and I'm your host today. Let's talk more about detachment. I have really enjoyed going through these daily readings with you from Karen Casey's new book, Let Go Now. It is a fantastic book about detachment, and this week is even better than last week. So detachment frees up our time. See, I like the way that sounds already. When we are involved in the plans, the problems, the details, and the actions of others, whether friend, spouse, or child, we have less time to attend to our own lives. Many of us think that part of our assignment here is being available to whomever and whatever their focus is. But that is not true. Not ever true, in fact. As parents, we may need to closely supervise the activities of our children, but we shouldn't limit our focus to that alone. Our lives are, or can be, much richer than our role as parent or spouse or friend. Our attention must remain on those things that have called us and only us on our journey. Perhaps attachment was an unfamiliar concept to you before starting this podcast. When I first heard the word, I struggled to understand its meaning. I deciphered it by going through the door of attachment. Actually, I did know how it felt to be attached to someone else. I had tried to keep loved ones attached to me for years. Coming to see that detachment was letting go, releasing others to make their own choices, their own mistakes, to realize their own dreams, initially felt like loneliness to me. My life simply had been a dance around others. Letting them be meant I was dancing alone. But then I discovered the freedom I had to actually move in ways that pleasured me, and joy replaced the tension that had haunted me for years. At last, there will always be enough time to do what I am being called to do, and when I keep my attention where it belongs, on me. Well, I really like this. I'm a Gen Xer. And, I want to talk about that a little bit because of the way people are raised. Um, I love the reading. I love where it talks about children and how, I kept people attached to me. When I was a kid growing up, I had a mother who was very codependent. However, she still let me be. She still let me be. I remember going out playing outside. I remember hopping on my bike and going for bike rides with my girlfriends. We would go all over the Spokane Valley. And my parents didn't know where I was at. All of a sudden I'd look at my watch, or one of us would ask our friends, "What time is it?" We would be at someone's house. And they'd say, "Oh, it's 6:45. Oh my God, I gotta get home for dinner." And we'd race home to be at dinner. And then we'd go back outside. Our parents didn't really know where we were. We were very independent. And, it was just such a different world. And then when I had a child, things had changed so much in the world. And I was part of the parenting where you have to be with your kid all the time. You don't even have play dates anymore without arranging it with the other parent. You have to go to their soccer games. You have to sit there and watch. You have to sit outside while they play outside. God forbid they rode away on their bike and were somewhere and you didn't know where they were. I mean, how could you even go on with your life? And it's partly the fault of the world we live in. And I love my childhood because of that. I love that I could go down, ride my bike down to Kathleen. Kathleen's not home, so I ride down to Marcy's. I play for 2 hours and I come home. And my mom didn't even know I was at Marcy's, right? She'd say, how's Kathleen? And I'd say, oh, she wasn't home, so I went to Marcy's. She'd say, oh, okay, So it was a different world. And now, I find for myself, with the way I raised my child, it is suffocating. It is just so sad that I had to do that with her. I had to monitor everything she was doing all the time, where she went, who she was with, how long they'd be there. I'll pick them up. You pick them up. Uh, you know, every second, and that was our responsibility. But how suffocating for our children. It's no wonder they can't wait to get away from us. It's no wonder that there's just so much pressure and stress on them. It's a different world. And I really did suck the life right out of my kid. I ended up, because I was hanging around with her so much, her friends became my friends, and that was no good. That was not good. They liked me. They liked me, and they would confide in me, and they'd talk to me, and I didn't think much out of it at the time, but those were her friends. My mom didn't make friends with my friends. My friends called her, Mrs. Roberts. They didn't call her by her first name, Mrs. Roberts. And it was like scary whenever you talked to somebody's mom or dad. You got on your best behavior. It was like, oh, what's his name? Eddie Haskell on Leave It to Beaver. All of a sudden you straighten up. Hello, Mrs. Cleaver. Don't you look beautiful today? You know. So I mean, right there, this really conjures up, how we automatically think these kids are, that we are closely supervising their activities. Right. And then it says we're supposed to not limit our focus on that alone. That's really hard. It's hard to do your own thing. It's hard to keep going to whatever it is that you do for yourself once you have children and they have all different activities all the time. And it's just such an important thing that we do this, though, because I've seen so many people, once their kids go to college, really suffer from that empty nest syndrome. What do I do with myself now? The kids are grown and I got nothing. And so it's been interesting, to detach and have to take responsibility to really entertain myself. I found myself very bored. Like, what do I do? What do I do? I'm really great at making uh dioramas for fifth grade. I'm really good at making California missions out of toilet paper rolls, you know. But what do I like to do? And it kind of goes back to my theory of the hula hoop. You got to get back in your hula hoop. You got to give your kids some space. You got to let them have their own dreams. They're going to do it anyway. And if you don't back up from their day-to-day decisions, they are going to resent you and they are going to can't wait to get away from you. They might even estrange themselves from you. And you won't know why. Right? You'll say, "Oh my God, they won't talk to me. I haven't talked to them for 2 years. I wonder what happened." Well, you know, give them some space. It doesn't even matter what happens. It's their life, right? So hard. It's taken me so long, being adopted and not knowing anybody at the time, for many years, until I was 50 something years old, not knowing anybody with your same blood type. When you finally have a child, man, you just suck that thing in. You just grab onto it. I mean, it's like you and them against the world. And it's just that's just so unhealthy, and it took me a while to figure that out. And a lot of damage already done from that. If I could go back and do it again, but that's not the way life is. We all learn what we learn when we learn it, right? If I could have done better, I would have. And I've learned a lot through the experience. I've learned that, last week it was talking about not only do I not have control over other people, but I don't have control over what they want to do, who they want to be, who they want to hang out with, how they want to run their life. It's none of my business. None of my business. And that is so hard if you don't have your own stuff to look after. Like, the reason it's so hard to detach from people, especially in addiction, is because we got nothing going on. We're sitting there twiddling our thumbs. We don't know what to do if we can't worry about someone. We can't look after someone. We can't scold somebody, right? We have to all of a sudden focus on ourselves. I'm recently kind of helping this gal out who's going through this. She has a a boyfriend that is an alcoholic addict, and she's very worried about him. And she contacted me about him. How can we help him? And after spending some time with her, on the phone and messaging and all that, you know, come to find out she's got a whole bunch of stuff going on herself. And it's almost like instead of dealing with that stuff, she wants to focus on him. And I think a lot of us are like that. I am. I would rather do anything than look at my own faults, take my own responsibility. Man, I'll clean my desk, wash the car, clean out the junk drawer. I get very distracted with other stuff when there's something I need to do. And, I have had to create a life for myself. So I have something to do while other people are living their lives. It's an interesting topic. I think especially for mothers or any kind of single parent, you're just so involved with those kids. And if you realize how fast it goes and they leave and they start their own lives, and there you are, right? Wherever you go, there you are. And it's just so much healthier for our children to see us going to exercise class or knitting or crocheting or painting or bowling or whatever you like to do. You got your own things. Maybe you play bridge, once a week with some girlfriends. I mean, it's just so important to get your own thing going. It's important for your children. It's important for your spouse. It's important if you live alone. It's important if you live with a group. I mean, it's just important to develop healthy activities for you to do. I do have a friend that loved to read, and she ended up using her reading as an addiction. And it was a problem. It was creating problems in her life. And, she had to go to like a 12-step program to kind of pull out of that and focus on the rest of her life. She got lost in that kind of dream world. She escaped her own life by living in the life of the person in the book. And so you have to be careful. You don't want to swing too far the other way. You can be involved with your family, but you got to have some stuff going on for yourself. You really do. And so this week, I really want to challenge you. Anymore, there's so many things you can do. You can take a course. You can go on YouTube and learn how to change the oil in your car. I mean, you can really do anything. There's free courses on Google and Amazon. There's recovery meetings, 12-step meetings, Al-Anon. You'll meet new friends, Nar-Anon. There's just so much to do in life. There's places to volunteer. And I really want to challenge you to think about your own hula hoop. What is going on in your hula hoop? Are there people in your hula hoop that shouldn't be in your hula hoop? Do you have anything in your hula hoop? Are you in your hula hoop? Or are you in someone else's hula hoop? Respond to me and let me know. Karen@KarenGardenier.com. Shoot me a message and let me know what's going on with you. And I'm telling you, detachment will free up your time. But the problem is then you got to fill your time. And I think that's really a lot of us. Like, what am I going to do if I don't have any drama? What am I going to do if I don't have someone to complain about, to worry about, to smother in love, right? What am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to have to look after myself. I'm going to have to make myself happy, right? I'm going to have to do something wonderful and enjoyable and give back to the community, right? So think about that this week. And, I just love you all. I'm so glad you're here. And don't forget about the offerings that I have on my stand store. I will put the link here in case any of you are interested. And I've got a new freebie out, which you really might like. Have a great week, everyone. Bye bye.